You know what? Well, you know what? We're live anyway because it looks like here Twitter is actually we lost Twitter, but that's okay. We'll figure that out shortly. But we are here on sportnarium.com/player and also YouTube. So we are here with IMF coverage. We are getting ready for Rage in the Cage, and we've got two of my guys to speak about it. They're going to be in one of the bigger matches upcoming here, and that is going to be the House of Wolves and Remington Striker against the Dirty Monsters. And our guests here tonight are going to talk about it, plus much, much more. Here with us, no stranger to us on Sportswire Radio. He is the DKW hardcore champion of the world. He is Soldier GP himself, the popular heel man himself, and also with us for the first time, Dirty Donnie. And Dirty's got an interesting story. I'm going to get to that here, plus a heck of a lot more. These guys need no further introductions, but because they're on Sportswire Radio, it is Friday night. We're just hours away from Rage in the Cage. They're getting those introductions anyway. So with that, wait for it. Further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one, the sports show from the IMF, the Dirty Monsters, Soldier GP and Dirty Donnie. Fellas, how you doing tonight?
Pretty good. How are you?
Oh, all right. Unfortunately, a little bit of a glitch on Twitter here. So if you're on my Twitter page at Thomas Price 2017, we will try to get that fixed here. Unfortunately, social media has been certainly no friend to Sportswire over the past few weeks, but we'll certainly get to that another time. But, gentlemen, a lot to talk about here tonight. We have a slew of IMF stars that are going to be here with us here throughout the next hour. And want to get to you guys here first in reactions to what Remington Striker had to announce about 10 or so days ago, that it was originally going to be a tag team match between yourselves and the House of Wolves, but now it's a 3-on-2 match with Mr. 49% himself adding it. And I'm going to go right to Mr. 51%, Dirty Donnie, 5150, you may say. And
you used to say.
Well, hold on, Tom, thanks for having me on here. Big fan. So, you know, this
okay, sure.
This is something I can check off the bucket list, but just answer a question for me, if you will, Tom. 49 is half of what?
100.
Well, I think 49, Tom, is half of nothing.
Well, true. It's 49. It's 24 and a half. It's 49. But sure.
That's
The
what's
point
so
is,
special
he's
about
not the
that
majority. Yes, he's not the
51%.
majority. Yes, agreed. Sure.
Okay, thank you. I just, I think maybe if you heard it from a big star like yourself, he'd understand that. But, what Remington did is a classic Remington move. Okay, what he did was, well, he made the stipulation, it's going to be a 3-on-2. Well, Tom, in my experience with Remington, I don't know if you've seen, but he stabbed me in the back.
Yes, I actually have seen. I know you guys have done some commentary together. You guys have certainly had a long-standing, history with each other. So absolutely, I sure have. Absolutely, sure.
Me trying to put my, my anger to the side and try to call commentary with him, and obviously that didn't work out. So, anyway, though, he wanted to make that match. And then, what my thinking here is he's going to try to have his little goons, the House of Wolves. Yeah, the House of Wolves.
Jordan Nets, sure. Freddie, yep, sure. We know those guys very well. Your opponents in the apron.
Right. So he's going to try to have them hold us down while Striker gets out of the cage there, and he just wins. No brainer. I don't think that's happening. That's exactly why I came back and countered with that stipulation of my own. Because 51%, you can really actually toss that around. It's kind of like a ball.
So more than 49. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not good at much things, but I know 49 is less than 51. Yeah, I give you that.
Thank you. And so that's why I said no escaping the cage, because this guy's not going to get that lucky. All right, he's got to beat him, and I know for myself personally, I got to score to settle with him, and Soldier. He's had his ones and twos with Striker.
Oh, and we know Soldier's certainly got some family beef there. He's got a lot of issues with the House of Wolves. And I'm going to come back to the DKW Hardcore Champion in a second. There's a lot of people tuned in right now. I'm going to say hello to them shortly, and we are now on Twitter. So thank you to everybody that is with us on Twitter as well, because we get a lot of people on Twitter from time to time that say hello and hang out with us, especially on a Friday night. But, Dirty, you talked about the fact that you have this animosity with Mr. Stryker, obviously for different reasons, the ownership situation, the commentary that you guys have done together. So how do you, in a way, not so much focus on that animosity to make sure you guys get the job done and come away with a much needed W to give you guys that momentum and kind of get another one here up on the House of Wolves? Talk to me about that.
Well, I could first start by saying, in the IMF days of IMF being a company, this is not Dirty and Soldier's first time teaming up.
Oh, I'm aware of that. No, totally aware of that. You guys are the Dirty Monsters for a reason.
We have that chemistry, Now to obviously be looking at, potentially winning some tag team gold here. I think that just gets the veins and the blood pumping way more than just a regular match. I mean, we're ready to go during regular matches. You know what I mean? But these are the new IMF tag team titles that we just ordered. Just rebranded. And me personally, I had a U.S. title. I didn't even have a run. I won the U.S. title and got injured. So,
speak about it. What happened? Tell him what happened. This will be his first actual title match since he won the U.S. title and had to vacate it the next day.
That's right. Balor situation. You win the title, you get injured, and then all of a sudden you can't defend it. So, I mean, for those that are listening and watching, especially on YouTube, we have some new people out there that have tuned in. I mean, I think it's a good point by Mr. Soldier. Let's talk about it. Go ahead there, Mr. Dirty.
Talk about your injury.
Well, plain and simple, I got injured in the ring.
It happens. We've interviewed a lot of wrestlers on Sportzwire. I can imagine. Okay.
Which was heartbreaking. I mean, that was my first, kind of like my big break for me at that point in time, where I was at in IMF.
You took it from me.
I did it's actually.
Another big thing because I barely lose.
I did take it from Soldier, and I had to resort to some dirty ways, but fact of the matter
they call you Dirty Donnie, right? They call you.
That is correct. It's a dirty damn day to be alive. I tell you that. Okay. But anyway, back to the injury. So that put me out for what was that? About 4 months. 3-4 months.
Time. That's a long time.
So when I come back to the company, even though
on the plus side, you got the 51% during that time.
Right, I did. I happened to obtain the 51% in that time. So it's not like I'm just sitting on my ass, you know what I mean, doing nothing, because I want to see IMF succeed and grow and get bigger. I went and then fought for the 51%, legally, not the ring. But
okay,
happened to obtain that, and I would say since I think I've been doing what I can personally to put the best matches out, weekly and pay-per-views as well.
I think that the IMF has done a phenomenal job with that. That's why we love the IMF on Sportswire, and obviously over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Please continue to support the guys at IMF Wrestling 666. And I want to say hello before I get to Soldiers to some people out there in the YouTube verse. IMF is tuned in. Here we go. 49 is half of 98. Well, I said 100, so that's why I said it may not be good at math. Our very good friend PJ, hope you're all good. We certainly say hello to him. The Painmaker, Joshua Allen, who I know him. He's from TBW, Tennessee Backyard Wrestling. He says good evening. Obviously, we know TBW very well. They have a huge anniversary show coming up here very, very soon. And I have a feeling that there'll be a coverage of TBW on Sportswire real soon. So we'll be seeing the Painmaker, among others, soon. Also have here our friends from AOPW. I saw that on YouTube that you guys have something cooking up there. We'll
best promo thing out there. Best E-Fed. E-Fed out there.
Yes, I did see that you guys are working on that. Also AOPW IMF. And I'll get to that in a second. I have a couple more comments. Also, want to shout out here our friends from Dark Cryptic Wrestling. I'm going to be talking a lot about DKW here because you're going to see some DKW people coming out and Rage in the Cage here this weekend. Hey to everyone, we just want to stop and show our support before we have a long drive tomorrow morning. I want to also say to the guys driving out there, please be safe on the roads. Be safe out there, safe travels. We certainly keep our fingers crossed that from Ohio to Iowa, we will certainly make sure everybody is safe and sound, and we look forward to the show here on Sunday. So thank you to our friends at Dark Cryptic Wrestling. Please give them a nice follow on YouTube if you're out there. So, Soldier, I will come back to the AOPW in a second. I'll let people speak about that for a few minutes, but I want to talk about your side of things here coming up. You've got a lot of scores to settle with the House of Wolves.
Beautiful.
You especially with your family situation. I almost don't even want to ask you because certainly after we saw when you teamed up with Mr. McDaniel and we saw what happened to one of Mr. Black's members of the House of Wolves, I'm going to ask this very diplomatically. And how's the family life going these days? And what can we expect from your side of things coming up here in this match Sunday?
The family life. The 2 kids that I gotta live with every day that turn on me.
That's gotta be. You know what? I think we might have touched upon this before on Sportswire, but this is one of those where it's really, really delicate. There, I almost want to say like when you guys say, "Hey, son, pass the butter," or "Hey, pass the bread." It almost becomes like a tense moment there.
Yeah. They're chucking it at me. They're not passing it. They're throwing it like
I
they're
was thinking you were gonna be the one chucking, considering who you are.
I'm asking for it. I'm the aggressive one. I'm like, give me the bread.
Well, you are the
my kids have been grounded for a while.
That reminds me of the Spider-Man movie where Miles Morales' father says he's grounded for years and he still finds a way. But let's talk about your side of things. Obviously, a lot of scores still to settle this weekend. And for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire, can we expect from you and your end of things here in this match against the House of Wolves and Remington Striker?
Well, now that they can't run off and try to escape the cage, they have to pin us. 1, 2, 3, right? They gotta submit us, which I don't see that happening.
I'm not giving up. I know you ain't giving up.
I look at this as Omen made it personal when he took something from me. He took my kids and he made it personal. This is the start of that payback. We're going to take the tag titles and somehow we're going to get that world title back. We're going to take everything that he has worked his ass off for to create with the House of Wolves, and we're going to watch it fall. Plain and simple. You took my kids, you made it personal, now I'm coming at you, and I'm going to take your gold. The only thing Omen cares about is those championships. You really think he cares about the tag team champions themselves?
I think they're expendable to him. I think the whole house is expendable to him.
He cares about the belts. He cares about being world champion. He cares about the tag titles being in the Wolves. He cares about the U.S. title being in the Wolves. But Uric cares about. Then he took my son, who's the junior heavyweight champion. So he has all the gold.
Because it makes his cult relevant. That's what it is. There's no belts there.
This Sunday is starting the downfall of the House of Wolves. When we go into that cage and we fight Remington Striker, who he's like a roach that just won't leave you alone. Like
I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one.
He's just like he's a gnat that just keeps landing on you. Just keeps landing on you. He's landing on you. You just want to. You swat it. You think
it is Nat season, by the way. It is Nat season. I have noticed here in New York it is Nat season.
I'm pretty sure not that long ago, I beat him and put him out of the company in a last man standing match, and he weaseled his way back in.
Exactly. That did happen.
So it's like he's an irritating rash that just won't stop it.
Okay, I'm going to plead the fifth, but let me ask you a question because you said something interesting, and obviously you said a couple different things here. I want to unpack the first part. You talked about the world title, and I know that you're aware of that. Omen has certainly made himself a known presence in social media, and especially on Sportswire with different wrestlers, different promotions, different companies. I won't go into the names. You can probably part and parcel all of them. But do you feel in a way though that Omen kind of usurped in a way what you did when you were world champion, and in a way maybe that fuels you into the fact that Omen these last couple of months, and I'm not saying that he's opened doors for the IMF because you guys were already going through those doors, but it almost feels like I see wrestler after wrestler and they go back and forth with him and he's the champion. I mean, what is your thoughts on that and anything you might want to add toward that?
Well, behind the scenes, I mean, out of kayfabe, it's cool because of the fact that he is doing his thing on social media. But back to character, because there are some people that don't think that we know what the difference between being in character and being out of character.
Mm-hmm.
So in character, everybody's got to lose, and he's gonna lose.
Well, I mean, one day I'm sure. I mean, listen, people are wondering when is the day that Roman Reigns is going to lose. There's another company that you guys certainly, have kind of touched upon and going back and forth with, and they have a champion in the same situation. But eventually, someday, everybody loses. But my point was that I feel like with Omen, it's like you see Omen, and Omen's here, Omen's there. Omen's talking to this person, that person. Now, when you were the champion, and I think you did a lot as champion, I've gone back and watched a lot of your content. You certainly opened the door. But I feel like you opened the door, but Omen kind of, in a way, usurped the foundations that you laid in character as the champion here in the IMF. That's kind of what my thoughts are. And what do you say toward that?
So I give Omen props where props are, due. He took the title and he's made it. We're on your podcast. We're doing more with other companies. He is putting his name out there every time you have a wrestler on there. It is Omen.
Even the British guy. Listen, the British wrestlers, like the pro British wrestlers, like there's some big names in these little towns, right? And Omen's there. I mean, he's there. I mean, I see Omen there, Omen this, Omen that. It's almost like I didn't obviously know you as much. I know your work, but I felt like he is taking what you did and running with it. That's just, I kind of think that to me should also be something that should want to fuel you to come back at him. That's just what I'm saying out loud. I think others think that.
Yeah,
I would agree. I would also say, how do you start by tearing a guy like that down? You know what I mean? And it starts this Sunday at Rage in the Cage. Okay.
Yeah, it definitely does. It definitely does. And I'll get to comments in a second. But, you guys also talked about the stipulation where obviously everybody's locked in the cage. But the numbers game is still with the Wolves. I mean, what's your impressions on that? Because, I think, Dirty, you certainly have done a little bit to even the score, but I'm not good at most things. I've established in life I'm not too good at many things, but it's still 3 versus 2. So is that still, I mean, what's the equation there still? Give me your thoughts on that, Dirty.
Well, I mean, yeah, we're still outnumbered. And me and Soldier know, we're not going into this thinking that we're not going to be untouched. We're going to take it down.
Okay.
But I think in the end, it comes down to, who wants it more. And I think me and Soldier, it means so much more to us, to cement our legacy in IMF rather than to be a couple goons who just work for Omen Black and wash his panties and whatnot.
Whoa. Dirty. They call you Dirty Donnie certainly for a reason there. I mean,
me and Omen have a history ourselves, so
I'm well aware.
It's a history in the making this weekend.
Oh, and that's why I want everybody to please follow our friends at the IMF. If you're on Facebook out there, please follow them. If you're on Instagram,
I'm a former U.S. champ. I'm a former world champ. This weekend when I win the tag titles, because believe me, the Dirty Monsters are going to win the tag titles. I'm
Now,
gonna be a Grand Slam champion.
you stole my words because I was gonna say, because you think about it, right? You've been a singles champion, you'd be a tag champion. You think about in wrestling history, the idea of a Grand Slam winner. You go back to the old days in the WWF, and there was only very few wrestlers who were Grand Slam champions. Obviously, it was Bret the Hitman Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin. You're talking about The Rock. You're talking about very few people that could say, hey, I was Shawn Michaels and Diesel, very few guys. That was still a big deal here. And I mean, you have a chance there and then to make history. And Soldier, what does that mean to you that you could possibly be an IMF Grand Slam champion on top of that? Oh, by the way, holding another promotion's title that's coming to your building on Father's Day, no less.
It's gonna be a good Father's Day present. Dealing with the father, dealing with the kids that are, turning their back on me. So like the only thing I got looking forward to on Father's Day is winning the tag titles with Dirty Donnie.
Oh, and that's gonna happen. There'll be a dirty damn day on Sunday.
We'll certainly see. This is the season for dirty water dogs, as they would say, for hot dog season. So certainly, I do want to get to one comment before the DKW guys sign off, because they're actually going to leave. I wanted to at least let them have one comment. You're right, Soldier. History will be made when the IMF title comes home to the DKW.
Kron.
Big words.
Kron, you're going to have a really bad couple weeks because, listen, this isn't a prediction. This is a spoiler.
Uh-oh.
Omen's going to beat you in the cage this weekend. He's going to beat you in the cage. And then when we come up, I'm going to beat you again. So you're going to be 0-3 against IMF guys. I'm going to beat you twice when we come up because, me and Matt Forsaken are going to whip you in Omen's ass. And then I'm going to later that night beat you and defend this successfully.
Interesting. Let me ask you a follow-up, and I'll get to comments here because I see some other wrestlers from some other companies, and I want to get them a chance to say hello to you guys. But we've spoken about the fact that you've gotten to defend that DKW title amongst other wrestlers, professional wrestlers. You're a guy that's holding a title for a promotion that you don't work for. You're also challenging to have history here and being an IMF Grand Slam winner and a tag team champion. Is there pressure
on top of being Soldier 2 belts again?
I know. Well, the point is that that's a lot to think about. That's a lot of pressure. I have a lot of wrestlers coming. We had a guy on this afternoon, Paul Malin, the Warrior, Paul Malin, squaring off against the guy, Johnny Storm, who's been in 100,000 different wrestling promotions. And I asked him, well, how are you feeling going into this match? You have a lot of pressure here. Soldier 2 belts, champion, another promotion you don't work for, first ever IMF Grand Slam winner. I mean, do you feel pressure going into Sunday? I mean, it's a lot to think about there. A lot of history there.
I imagine, because this still happens every time I get ready to go in the ring. I get those butterflies. Waiting in the back, waiting there where we're about to come out. But the moment my music hits, it all goes away. Okay. The moment I get in that ring and I'm looking across the ring at my opponent and that bell rings, it just clicks. All of the pressure building up, all the being nervous, all the butterflies, all that stuff, that goes away. As soon as that bell rings, and it's time to go to work.
But they say that's a good thing. I have always found out, and I've been doing this 4.5 years, right? Not to compare going into a wrestling match, but we talk with all these different people, right? And they always say if you're nervous going into something, you have butterflies, stomach knots, whatever you might want to call it, almost like those old first day of school jitters. That's a good thing. That actually means you're focused, and that actually means you're going to do the job that you need to do. Now, I have a bunch of comments. Let me get to them in a second, but I wanted to make sure I give a big shout out to my very good friend who I think is listening out there all the way from the friendly or not so friendly confines of Brooklyn, New York. That is Mr. Anthony Finkel. Anthony has now just become a landlord. He is now a landlord now out there. So congratulations, Anthony Finkel. He's the man behind DPH Property Maintenance. He's been a huge wrestling fan, always watches all of our streams. As a big guy in his own, it looks like maybe he could square off in a wrestling ring sometime. He also had a birthday a couple of weeks ago, so congratulations to you, Anthony. Wanted to make sure I acknowledge you, and congratulations on all of your success and your financial success. You're well on your way to building a nice portfolio in property management, and keep up the great work. But let me get to some more comments here because people do want to say it. And IMF says, bring your best, DKW. And Combat Joe, by the way, is tuned in. I think Combat Joe we might be seeing also as part of DKW coverage, June the 29th. Yep. Well, we're going to talk about that. We have some DKW coverage. DKW coverage June 29th, and they're going to be right before you come to your building. We're going to get them in your guys' chair. So I'm very excited to have the DKWs in the house. And Tyler Ark says, where is Omen Black? Well, he'll be here, but right now we're talking with Soldier and Dirty Donnie. So Tyler Ark, you certainly better be tuned in. Building Foundation. Also want to give a big shout out to Beans, AOPW hashtag. Skulls from WC is here. Skulls was with us earlier today. Felix Jones, big shout out to Felix Jones. What's up, Dirty and Soldier? You almost definitely got this win Sunday, but we'll see. So far, sounds so good on what the guys are saying here. Also, Soldier has an IC title match coming up in AOPW. I'll get to AOPW in a second. I'm going to
nice.
Sure I'm going to get to that. I can't wait to see Dirty and Soldier take the tag titles from our friends at Gaming Panda Wrestling. Want to make sure we sound that out. And also, my guest yesterday in your chair, a man you do know of, or at least you've heard of, Nicholas Crenson, who won his first championship in over 17 years, the RCW Rules Champion from our friends at Wrestling Championship Entertainment. It sounds like we are in for a bloodbath, and that is fantastic. Okay, let me ask you, though, and I'll come back to some of the other things. AOPW is something that you guys have recently gotten involved in. And for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, talk about that, what that is, and kind of how this guy's all kind of led where you guys are working together. So if you both want to talk about it, feel free.
Yeah, it's an E-Fed on YouTube.
I'm new to it.
Actually, honestly, it works. It helps out. We cut promos on each other, battle with each other, and then they put it in the game. It's actually pretty cool. There's no drama with it. Nobody's. Like it's fun.
So you watch it on YouTube.
You're watching on YouTube. Like literally Monday, our characters, and they look just like us, which is it's awesome. I'm like, got my dreads, got my gear, everything. Like,
got my gray hair.
Got his look. But like we had a match against each other on the game, and I came out and won.
They actually beat me to advance.
And that because I'm watching it happen live when everybody else is watching it happen. Like I didn't know not knowing how I was gonna beat him, if I was gonna beat him. It's pretty cool.
Right.
Like
not knowing is that element of surprise, and it makes it more worth it.
This Saturday, June 17th, right before we win the tag titles.
That's right.
On AOPW, I have a Intercontinental title match against the Intercontinental Champion of the AOPW, Peter Richards.
Wow. Okay. So, I think that he's in here with us for sure. That's a pretty cool thing there. That how has that made you feel in terms of if it made you more closer to wrestling, or it's made you think about it more?
It's made my kids watch it.
Okay.
Watching my kids get excited when they see my character on the screen, looking like me actually wrestling. Like, and I'm not controlling them or they're not controlling them. It's actually pretty cool. And after I beat Peter Richards this weekend at Summer Heat, and after we win the tag belts, you can call me Soldier 3 belts because I'll be the Intercontinental Champion at AOPW. I'll be the AW World Hardcore Champion, and then we'll be the Tag Team Champions. So Soldier 3 belts.
Well, it's funny because we had on our guest, obviously, earlier today, Paul Malin. He held 5 belts at once. And I was like, well, how did you get around? And he had 5 championship belts. And he goes, well, it was actually tough. And I almost have to ask you, 3 belts. How are you going to be able to I know you're a big guy. But how are you going to be able to pull that off there, champ?
This guy's got 2 shoulders and a waist.
I got 2 shoulders
All
and a
right,
waist.
all right. Well, that's true. All right, when he had 5, when Paul Malin had 5 belts, he goes, "Well, I was kind of like the Ultimo Dragon, and it was kind of
That's
like
what I
it
was
was."
saying. Growing up, growing up in the '90s, watching Ultimate Dragon carry all those belts around.
Yep.
That's kind of a goal of mine now. I want to be able to say I carried, carry all these belts around and earned them all. So
Let me ask you guys a question real quick on that, because I think one thing that's fascinating about the EFA that you touched upon, I'm going to come back to obviously DKW, some other things here. We're on Sportswire Radio with the Dirty Monsters. That is Soldier GP, the DKW Hardcore Champion, and Dirty Donnie himself, who's the majority owner of our friends here at the IMF. Please give them a follow on YouTube at IMF Wrestling 666, IMF_Wrestling on Instagram. Also, check them out on Facebook as well. It's the Iowa Midwest Federation. Go there, support them. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. But, if you ever would have thought 20 years ago or 25 years ago, you talked about the 90s and playing video games, and nobody would have thought, hey, we could create these characters ourselves and we don't control them. And, how does that make you feel? And saying, you ever look back? I asked Paul Malin this question. He started his wrestling career in 2005, kind of like a Levi McDaniel, maybe a little bit more accomplished just because of who he wrestled and such, but it's kind of the same comparison. And do you stop and think, hey, you know what? I never would have thought I'd have, my own wrestling character. I'd be having this E-Fed thing, and, I don't even control it. And, my kids are watching me like this. What do you guys say to something like that?
I honestly, I think it's awesome. It's really cool. I literally on like the last episode that they aired, and it was on Monday. My buddy was over here as well, and me and him and my kids were watching it. And like seeing him get on, like he was on the edge of his seat because these matches are well created, well put together, all that stuff, and watching him being on the edge of his seat, watching the matches, especially like when he was getting in to the match with us, and watching us go at it on the screen, and it was just, it's amazing. Actually, these guys, awesome work. They do awesome work. They're great guys, and I'm blessed to to know these guys. I'm blessed to know these guys. They put a lot of hard work into
Listen,
it.
I always say, and the reason I want to touch upon this, and I'll get to more comments in a second, is during COVID, when obviously I was doing things on Sportswire, and we were working, because we work with a lot of different colleges and we cover college athletics, and we're appreciative of that outlet. And, some of these schools were starting esports feds, and, and I would speak to these different people that would get involved in it. And, actually being a gamer, and we have a professional gamer coming on Tuesday night, and, it's a lot of work. People think, oh, well, you're playing video games or you're doing things that you're not really doing anything. No, trust me. That work that you put into that to play at that level, and the responsibilities and the time you put into it, it's definitely, you got to give them all the respect in the world here. And PJ also says that he is from New York. He is from Long Island, though. I am from the city of New York, which is may not be saying much these days, but I am from New York City. I am from Brooklyn, live in Staten Island now. So PJ, nice to meet you, and I look forward to seeing you out here more shows. AOPW's main goal is to bring the wrestling community closer together through our love of wrestling and promo art. No drama, no ego, just pure fandom at its finest. Amen to that. Also stars, and we thank our friends at AOPW. Want everybody to please subscribe to their pages, and anything we can do to help them or anybody else, not just in wrestling, we will definitely do here. But, gentlemen, I touched upon DKW, and I want to talk about DKW for a second, and it'll segue here into kind of just some of the other things of note before Mr. Black comes on here and joins us. I'm sure Mr. Black will have a lot to say. Maybe you want to even face Mr. Black. But DKW, you're going to be seeing them quite a bit these next couple of weeks. This is a war that is resumed from late winter, early spring, and you guys obviously have the advantage from the last time we saw you guys up close. They're coming to your building, though, and they're going to have a lot of motivation. We had asked you guys this question a few weeks back, but I'm going to ask it again. I mean, do you feel like that they're going to have extra incentive to motivate you guys to take a title from you guys, or do something that would kind of even the score a little bit from what you guys did in their building? Give me your thoughts on that.
I mean, we're already motivated enough. Like, we're excited for them to show up, and we're excited to see what Omen has planned for Kron, because that's the only title that could even possibly leave IMF to go there because he's the only one that has a title shot. So I'm not worried at all about them coming here. They got to show something to us. Like we went there and we dominated.
I agree. I do agree that the record books show that IMF beat DKW. I do agree on that. I definitely cannot disagree.
We don't have to beat them. They have to beat us. So all the pressure and everything's on them. Like when I come back to his world, when I come back to his arena in July, there's no pressure on me. I've already beat you here, kid. Like I've already beat you. 1, 2, 3. I took your belt. All the pressure is on them because we beat them 3-2.
Now, I agree. Yeah, no, I agree with that. But you've defended their title against indie wrestlers, right? You have taken, conversing how Omen has taken the IMF title and gone to different places. You've done that as well. You've been on here with different wrestlers. You've talked about that title. And, it seems to me as if it burns at them, especially at Darkron. It burns at them.
It should burn in Darkron because I'm the one that he lost it. He's the one that lost the belt, so it should burn him. But they also should be thanking me.
Well, how so?
Because they should be thanking me because I put relevance on that title. I said, if you go back and you look at all the matches that title has been involved in, and you add all those views that people are seeing it, it's over 5,000-6,000 views.
I think you defended it more times.
And
there is a point that, and we love DKW on Sportswire. We're going to get their shot here next Thursday, but there's a point to be made, guys, that DKW's roster is maybe it packs a punch, but it's a smaller punch than, let's say, you guys or another company that you guys have traded some barbs with in wrestling championship entertainment. Not to go poke the bear there, but the fact of the matter is that, maybe your point is valid that DKW, while it's got some stars, some emerging household names in the yard scene, they don't have the size that, let's say, an IMF has. I mean, is that a fair assessment, or what do you make of that?
That is fair.
Oh, right.
They don't have the opportunities that I've been given since I've won that belt, and I appreciate all them things. But again, I've taken this belt and I made it mean something to where, like you said, I defended it against pro wrestlers where I had the Steve come down trying to take this belt from me. Like I made this title right here mean something in the backyard.
No, I think that's a fair point. I think that is a fair point that, we have a lot of yarders on Sportswire now. People talk about that title. It's no joke. People talk about that title. Go ahead, Dirty. You're going to say something? Jump in there for us, Dirty Donnie.
They also know who DKW is now as well, for people that may not have.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think that people look at DKW now and say that's the company that's been feuding with IMF. That's the company that has kind of been up in the center stage here. Let me get to some people here that want to say hello. Omen, Kron, Lucky Prince will be absent. Okay, so certainly a Prince will be absent. That's certainly a fair point. We'll have to. You want to say something toward that?
He'll be here.
Management hasn't heard anything.
Yeah, Prince will be here.
Okay, all right. Because I was wondering there, what did somebody want to say about that there? And I want to give a shout out to our friends over at ROEW Backyard Wrestling, the good guy CJ Black. He seems to be an Omen Black fan. He says Omen Black is a good guy. Okay, well, certainly CJ Black calls himself the good guy. Some people think he is a good guy, but do follow them at ROEW Backyard Wrestling on YouTube, also on Instagram. Their champion, Jason Storm, just had an open challenge, and we want everybody to go watch that match on YouTube. But, guys, I want to ask you this question, obviously, because we have Dirty here also as the owner. We'll hear from Omen in about 10 or 15 minutes. We'll bring the champion on. But what else can we see on the card that you guys are most excited about here coming up at Rage in the Cage?
Rage in the Cage? I'm excited for the...
I like the Uric and Clay Evans.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
That's
the U.S. title match.
Yeah.
I'm hoping my boy Clay can take the title off of another House of Wolf member. You know what I mean? But I'm just being biased, obviously. And we also got Derek the Destroyer from ACW versus Jason Myers and versus Combat Joe. So that triple threat match, and that's the future. Those kids are the future of the backyard scene.
Talking about the future, we got the junior heavyweight title. That's gonna be in a fatal 4-way.
And I've been watching them guys practice and working at something for something. And they're getting them kids. The junior division is getting better.
And who knows who's gonna accept the open challenge?
Yeah, Matt Forsaken's open challenge since Felix got injured. Who knows who's gonna accept that?
No, I'm not gonna ask you. Definitely not who?
Oh, not a show to miss. This one.
Duh. I mean, obviously, everybody should be going to IMF Wrestling 666 for sure on YouTube and watch the show. I always try my best to watch IMF. You guys are in my rotation because somebody asked me today. They said, "Well, what do you watch these days?" And I said, "All I do is watch wrestling matches. It's on YouTube." Somebody asked me, "I'm coming on, watch my match." That's what I do. So I'll be watching you guys, and you guys are in the rotation here for sure. And the good guy CJ Black actually would like to say, I respect the IMF for their subscriber count. But boys, you want to know who's really on top of the BYW scene? Look no further. You guys want to respond to that?
If I came, he's from what? Michigan, right? They're from Michigan,
correct.
Right?
They're from Michigan, correct.
We already scared some Michigan people off.
CJ, if I came to Michigan, your backyard would become my backyard scene. So. Just saying, I'm the king of the backyard scene.
I'll kick his ass wearing an Iowa attire. Take that for some Big Ten.
Yeah,
the only thing I like about
Michigan to Iowa is not that far from you guys, right? And that's not that far.
Yeah, we're Big Ten rivals, actually.
Dirty. Get in contact with them.
All right, we can do that.
Get in contact with them.
No, I would certainly say that, Mr. Black is certainly, the other Black, is certainly made a name for himself. He's certainly been aligned with a guy that, as a lot of people know, is named Jack Delta, and Mr. Delta always is in the mouth.
I'm not impressed with him.
Not a fan. Yeah, I mean, listen, everybody, he's a different cup of tea. Certainly, Mr. Delta has been on here. I'm going to reserve judgment on that. We're going to certainly see what happens there. But, I did want to ask you, because you spoke about a number of different things, and speaking of companies, and we did have on Wrestling Championship Entertainment yesterday, and your old, I guess, maybe nemesis, foe, somebody you said a few different things for. The resident rock star Sean Jovi is on tomorrow night in your chair. And any impressions on that Nicholas Crenson finally broke the streak? He certainly was rivaling the 1918 Boston Red Sox for a while, and he was certainly up there, doing his best to be the ultimate choker, but finally found a way to win a championship. I mean, you must be kind of, in a way, kind of smiling and kind of almost like, yeah, I told you so, because Jovi kind of fell on his sword. Anything you want to say there with that?
I'm conflicted. All right.
What do you mean?
One, Crimson, man. I'll give you that. Yeah, I'm conflicted because I'm happy Jovi lost, because I'm feuding with Jovi. So I'm happy Jovi lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm conflicted. And what makes me conflicted is the fact that I wanted to take that belt from him in September when I showed up. So Crimson beat me to it. That's what makes me sad about it. Crimson beat me to it, but I'm happy because Jovi lost. And, it's just going to be the start of his losing record, because when I come up there, he's going to take another L.
Oh, I'm going to ask Jovi about that. So I'm going to definitely make sure to ask him about that. And before I ask you one more question, before I do bring on Mr. Black, because Mr. Black has requested the opportunity to speak, and I want to give him the opportunity. Felix Jones says, I'll be coming for that title when I heal Forsaken. That's why I want to bring up Forsaken one more time. And I want to ask you guys this, because we have this open challenger. Now, I'm not going to ask you who it is, because nobody knows. It's an open challenge. Nobody knows. But Forsaken, it could be anybody, right? This could be any challenge from anybody at a different promotion, different company.
It could be Levi McDaniels.
And that's kind of what you stole my thunder for, because, Nicholas Crenson yesterday also was talking about that, I work for WC, but I don't really work for WC. I represent myself, and I'll go anywhere. And, Levi McDaniel's a guy that works with you, and, he kind of goes his own way. And there's a lot of wrestlers.
That's my big brother.
Real awesome guy.
Real awesome guy.
Absolutely.
That's my big
Listen, I actually know a podcast that knows Levi McDaniel very well, the Sit Down Marks, who dabble in independent wrestling. So Levi McDaniel, have a lot of love for him. But in a way, it's not so much about Mr. McDaniel. It's about the fact that Forsaken on your grounds lays this open challenge out. And it could be anybody that answers it. Doesn't even have to be IMF. Any thoughts, speculations on that? I mean, it could be a WC wrestler for all I know. It could be
I'm personally
ROW wrestler.
I'm thankful because with Felix getting injured, Forsaken could have backed out and been like, no, I'm not coming then. You know what I mean? But for him to issue an open challenge to anybody to be there on the 18th and wrestle him in the cage, I feel we feel honored that he's still gonna come and wrestle in the IMF cage.
And IMF management don't know who's gonna accept it.
And that's what I was going to ask you on, because I'm not going to ask you, and I have a comment, then I'm going to get to Mr. Black, because it'll tie to Mr. Black on here shortly, and I want Mr. Black to come on. But
bring him on.
I'm going to bring him on. But you think in a way that this could actually backfire on Matthew Forsaken? Because here is this guy who we saw the bravado he had when he was on with us a few weeks ago, and he issues this open challenge. Could be anybody, right? You think that this could totally backfire on him on Sunday?
I personally do. It can go either way, though, at the same time. But I would say, he's kind of I'm a small guy myself as well.
From what I'm getting out of the situation is it's for a future shot.
Right.
At the title. If you beat him in the cage, then you get a future shot.
So he'll have time to do some background on you, but,
So you get a future shot at his title. Type thing.
It's not quite the Jade Cargill situation. After she wins yet again at the last day, Chris Statlander comes. Okay, fine. Before I get to Mr. Black, because this will tie to Mr. Black coming on here. Speaking of WCE, the reigning, defending, all-out champion has said hello. Who's our guest in your chairs next Friday night? He'll be here live because that's what we do here in Sportswire. Craven Rage. Well. Mr. 49%. How's it going? To the next victim, to the ruler of the yard, which kind of segues because I actually want the IMF champion to see this comment, and certainly this is going to maybe drive him wild. But it's okay.
I do want. Yeah, he's talking about Striker.
Oh, okay.
I do want to show, let everybody know that I am sending you the new Soldier GP shirt.
Well, I'm going to tell you now that shirt. I got to tell you that looks like a shirt I'm going to be wearing a lot, because what do I always wear on Sportswire at this point? Wrestling shirts. So that shirt is going to be at the top of the list of my collection. So I am very excited to be wearing Soldier GP, one half of the Dirty Monsters, the DKW Hardcore Champion, possibly IMF Grand Slam winner, his t-shirt. Now, where can we potentially find that merchandise there, Mr. Soldier GP?
I'll get in contact with our the IMF email.
Yeah, IMF,
and we'll get it worked out with you there.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. Actually, I'm going to add this on the list of things to wear, and I've actually got candy to try because my shirt here from Mr. Big Cheese Logan gave me a whole stack of candy to eat. Basically, he wants me to have a heart attack on the air so he can take over my chair. But I have all this candy. It's a whole big box of candy.
I'm diabetic, so I'm not going to send you any candy.
Okay, so you're basically okay. Thank you for that, because I'm wondering, when I try this on air, am I going to croak? But that's here nor there. I'm going to pull up Mr. Craven's comment because I actually want to bring him in right now. He's been waiting patiently. He is certainly a guy you know very well, gentlemen, that is the IMF champion of the world. He is the leader of the House of Wolves. He has been one of the most dominant champions in this sport has to offer. He has been, as some may say, the real ruler of the yard. He is none other than Mr. Omen Black. Mr. Black, why do I feel like every time I see you, somewhere lurking in those shadows is this comment, this individual here who's a leader of his own company? And I'm actually going to go right to the top. What do you want to say to the man, Craven Rage, that last we saw you, you certainly said a few different things to him. And how are you tonight, champ?
Well, I'm glad to see that Craven Rage came out of the hole that I buried him in on his own interview. Now,
Fair play.
You keep ducking me You ducked me one last time. Now you're going after my business partner, Mr. 49%. Okay. But in September, Craven, one way or another, I will be in the ring with you. And you're going to know who Woman Black is. But getting to know people, Soldier, Dirty, you guys recognize who's behind me.
Oh, I think these guys are going to be squared off in the apron against you here. At least one of those individuals, gentlemen. You want to say hello to him?
I don't know what's bigger, that title or his head, but just to throw that out there. After this weekend, Omen.
I want to talk about rashes. It's kind of cute coming from the dirty monsters. The dirtiest people I know in IMF. Now, I ask you this. Once you get in the ring,
you're a dirtbag, dude.
Your mouth while I'm talking.
You're a dirtbag.
I'm a dirtbag. Okay. Well, I'm not Dirty Donnie. I'm not no Soldier GP. But I ask you this, guys. Once you get in the ring with my brothers, Freddie Daniels and Jordan Nets, please just don't give them any ringworm or type disease or rash you guys have.
Well, that's if they show up there, Omen. Because it looks like you're a couple members short back there.
Yeah. Where's Stryker? Where's
Stryker?
Jordan?
Stryker is training Uric and Jordan right now.
All right, fair point. Fair point.
I'm taking these two under my wing.
All right. Well, Mr. Black, let me ask you a question because it's interesting that you bring that up. As a little while ago, I'm sure you might have been aware of the comments that the Dirty Monsters had said basically that you don't care so much for some of your brethren in the House of Wolves, that you really only care about that championship that you hold, and you're not so worried or concerned about the tag titles. Or would you like to respond to that? Because we have you here. We want to give you the opportunity to address that.
I don't want them painting a false picture of me to you, Tom, or to the Sportswire universe or the IMF universe.
Sure.
I care for my brothers.
Appreciate that.
I made a promise to these guys that I'd make them great. And look what I did. Before Freddie joined the house, he didn't have no title. Hell, he was on a losing streak for a while. Now look at him. Longest reigning tag team champion IMF, Uric.
Hey, Freddie.
Yeah, look at him.
Freddie.
You shut your mouth while I'm talking. Champs talking.
Freddie, when the Dirty Monsters take your little title from you this Sunday, you think he's going to have your back still?
Freddie,
when you lose the tag team titles to the Dirty Monsters, do you think Omen is still going to have your back then?
I can't tell if he looks like the Fonz or Greek Lightning, that motherfucker.
Soldier, I think you're just mad. I'm a better father figure to Jimmy Payton. I made him great. I'm making him great. Look at him. And I guarantee he's going to win his match with the Rage in the Cage. Who's he going against? Chucky O'Malley? Nico Lee? Bronson? Who's that? It's a bunch of nobodies.
You say you care about these people in your little House of Wolves, correct? But what happens, Omen, when you can't get in the cage to help your boys out when they're getting their ass kicked and they're begging, Omen, help me, help me. What happens then when you
I want to tell you this.
Where's the loyalty lie then?
I have 100% confidence in my brothers to retain their titles and to beat you two.
You know, the first pay-per-view you took, my youngest son. The second pay-per-view,
I was there.
You took my other son.
I was there too.
And I remember saying, and I hope you remember this, because I said at the end of that show that I have a surprise for you. A big surprise for you.
A big surprise. Well, I guess we'll have to see, won't we?
And I can't wait to see your face. I can't wait to see the look on your face when it happens.
It's going to be a dirty day for your ass.
Well, before I get to some comments and a thought on that, I guess after some of the personal things we've heard of here just now and earlier tonight, I almost have to ask this question to Mr. Black. I guess then you'll be the one that's having the more happier Father's Day per se than Mr. Soldier GP. Is that a fair assessment, I might ask?
No, I guarantee Soldier GP will have a good Father's Day. Because he gets to step in the ring with the best in IMF. Hell, that's a great present for anyone.
You can go to IMF Wrestling 666 on YouTube and watch and find out. I will tell you, that's the best gift of them all. That's
you didn't catch that there, Tom?
We're the greatest faction in IMF. I want to run down a little history of factions in IMF. Foundation. I was a member of Foundation, as well as Soldier GP. Now, the guy right next to Soldier GP hated us. Hated on us from day one because we were dominant. And now, look where he's at now.
It was going to crack. It did crack.
GP just to get a tag title. And now, the future. The future was dominant until I returned. And as I recall, they all put their sights on you, GP. And guess who came to help you and save you? Me. Now, the greatest faction in IMF, the House of Wolves. We're the only faction to this day to hold all the gold in IMF. Now, I didn't need the help of Dirty Donnie. I needed the help of Remington Stryker. I needed the help of management. I got it all done myself. These guys got it all done themselves. And I told these guys a promise.
You need to help my youngest son.
I'm not done talking. I tell these guys a promise. You join me, I'll make you great. And that's what I've done, Tom. I'm a truthful man. I've told you this. I'm a truthful man.
Oh, you've been on listening. We made the point, and I want to get your reaction to this, Mr. Black, before I get to a couple of other comments that wanted to say hello to you and certainly ask different things. That I said in a way that you took the IMF title and almost the seeds that maybe Mr. Soldier had planted, you kind of used them to build your own foundation. You were the guy in a lot of ways that
I'm going to stop you there, Tom.
Sure.
I'll give credit where credit is due. Soldier GP was the dominant champion. I'll give you that, Soldier. I'm not afraid to say that. Hell, we were brothers. We were friends. Now, Soldier GP was a dominant champion. No one could have beaten him until one day I just snapped. Why be in this guy's shadow when I'm clearly bigger than him and better? And that's when I turned on you, Soldier. And every day that hurts you, living that through your head, taking that Sister Abigail in the middle of that ring. Now, Soldier, you were a good champion. You're still a great champion. I'm just better.
I guess you answered my question.
Soldier GP, he opened doors. Don't get it twisted. He did open doors. There's a lot of people that know Soldier GP, said Omen Black. But other side of the coin, there's a lot of people that know Omen Black and not Soldier GP. Which
You're
is
right.
fair.
Soldier did open doors. And you walk through them doors and just have security. Who'd Soldier have? No security.
You keep calling it security.
You're right. They're not secure at all. They're not secure at all.
But I got to interject here shortly, because the reason I'm going to interject is because Omen, these last couple of months since you've held the title, champ, not to take away from what Soldier has done, because there's no question Soldier, like I said, allowed you to open and get through that door. But you're the guy I see out there as almost the front man for the IMF. You're the one I see with these different wrestlers we have here on Sportswire. You're the guy that I see that's in the mouths of different guys from different companies, whether it's WC.
I don't want to be the front man.
No, you may not want to be, but you are the front man. You're the person that people associate with the IMF right now. So my point was that you're the guy that almost to that casual fan that may only know IMF through here, frankly, or the wrestler that didn't know IMF, and they know IMF now is because they see you and your presence, the way you look, your character, the way you speak, the way you faced off with all these different wrestlers on their streams. My point was that you went through doors that Soldier didn't get a chance to go through. that was kind of my point I was trying to come across with and see what you had felt on that.
But I see the same way with Soldier. And I don't want to quote the guy because I truly don't like him. I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass, kid.
Let's plead the
I
fifth on
respect
that.
the hell out
Let's
of you.
not go there. Let's
But-
not go there. Let's not go there. Yeah.
You know, Soldier, I'll tell you this. Does it still sting that I turned on you? Of course. We were the greatest tag team. Hell, we're still the greatest tag team in E-Feds. AOPW, and dare I say it, Soldier, PWF. We were the greatest tag team.
I'm going nowhere with that.
Hey,
I'm
we're the
PWF.
reigning defending tag team champions.
I'm sorry I got you kicked out there, Soldier. I didn't mean that. And I said I spoke for myself. But yet they tagged us together, which is fine.
Okay.
I get it. Like you said, Soldier, in confidence, if you got to choose, you choose Foundation. You choose me, as I will do to you. But when it comes to the IMF universe, yes, you have open doors, and I respect that. And hell, I think the whole IMF, even the House of Wolves, respect that. But they also see that I also open doors. So I think it's a pretty good give and take.
All right. Let me get to some comments here because people do want to talk. The good guy, CJ Black, the other Black. What I tell you about people that wear glasses, Omen, you can't trust them. They're bad people, always hiding something. So that's his. He has been saying this here. The good guy, CJ Black from ROEW. He has been saying this quite a bit over the past month or two. So fair play to Mr. Black. Follow him on ROEW Backyard Wrestling YouTube, Instagram, CJ_Black. The good guy, CJ Black on Instagram. Felix Jones is going to continue to remind us 3-1 Omen, but he's on the shelf right now. And for shits and giggles, I really don't even want to say the word shits on Sportswire, but Omen Black tell me I have to be better on my promo. You do not want to see the man massacre Tyler Hart.
The what massacre?
I got a question.
Let's move on. You know what?
Hold on. I want to answer that.
You do?
Who?
All right.
Who? Tyler Ark? The guy who stumbles walking to the ring?
Yeah, he's a
The guy
meat
who can't even
master.
do his own finisher?
The guy's best match was trying to break a table.
The table won that match.
I know, I saw it.
I've been beat by a table.
You guys remember the song? I fought the law, but the law won.
Yeah, I fought the
You know
board and
I haven't seen a
board.
table like that since Combat Joe and Dirty Donnie.
Hey, I'll tell you what, I just admitted that before you could say it, so.
Okay, you know what? Let's certainly respectfully move on. We've only got X amount of time here, and I want to ask the champion his thoughts coming up this weekend. And before I do that, I want everybody please to follow the IMF on YouTube, IMF Wrestling 666, IMF_Wrestling on Instagram. And we'll have more coverage on Sportswire Radio upcoming tomorrow night again with Wrestling Championship Entertainment's the former now RCW World Underground Champion, the resident rock star Sean Jovi, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Mr. Jovi.
I'll be watching that one.
Oh, I heard a lot of people actually message me, is Jovi coming on? I said, yes, he's coming on. So people are certainly excited to tune in. Mr. Jovi actually personally asked for the floor after Minster Crenson had quite a bit to say early on in the show. So I'm giving Jovi his opportunity to respond. I'm sure he'll respond to a number of those things, but that'll be tomorrow night. WC Heat on YouTube, WCHeat.com, WC Heat on Facebook. But Omen Black, I want to ask you, because I have you here, and I've heard different things tonight about your match. I've heard, obviously, some things when he was here earlier from Darkron. I've also heard different things about Prince. Will he be there? Will he not be there? I saw your promo on the IMF YouTube page. So I have to ask you, I mean, what's your impressions about which opponent will be there, which one won't be, and anything else you might want to say toward Father's Day, Sunday afternoon, where you put that championship on the line?
Looks like you're struggling to keep that belt on your shoulder, kid.
Oh, I'm struggling.
Is it a little heavy for you?
I'm sorry that you dropped it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I think he was asking me a question, not.
I was actually asking Mr. Black this question, actually. I was actually asking him that question, to be totally fair. Go ahead, Mr. Champion.
I'm facing Dark Kron. I'm facing Dark Kron.
Yes, I did see that.
I'm facing a guy who lost to a guy I beat. Okay.
Yes.
You're
I'm
also
facing,
facing Prince.
I'm facing Prince, a guy who I made run away with a chair shot, and yet he thought he can come back to the Rumble in the Yard, and he got me with a chair. I'm not gonna lie, or his little confidant.
Yes.
But at Springtime Brawl, look who came out on top. Not Prince.
No, sir.
Certainly not Jason Myers.
No, sir.
Now, I see myself winning. I see myself with ease, holding this belt. I'm not going to have any issues. Now,
And you, yeah, go ahead. Jump in.
I'm going to quote a very favorite movie of mine. It's also a comic book, The Watchmen.
Good movie. Good movie.
Rorschach went to prison. He said this. You're not locked in here. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
Dominic Mysterio.
Well, it's
That's
funny you
exactly-
said that. It's funny you said that because I opened with the promo of you guys coming on tonight with the Jim Morrison song 5-1 from the Doors, which was actually in Rambo Last Blood, where basically 5-1, 1 in 5, no one gets out alive. So you're saying that Mr. Kron and Mr. Prince, to quote Mr. Morrison from the Doors, they're not getting out alive then Sunday.
They're not getting out until I want to end the match.
Well, that could work too. That could work.
You gonna climb out?
They're not going to have a chance to climb out.
I'm talking about you.
I'll bust that door down. Like Tom said, I've opened doors. What's one more door at Rage in the Cage?
Well, we'll certainly find out, but I have to pull up here because Craven Rage, apparently, he certainly wants to try his best rage against the machine like Comet. He certainly has something to say, and I want to give him that opportunity. With all due respect, I truly do respect the IMF guys, especially Soldier GP, but Omen Black, you, my friend, need to tell the truth. What are you really afraid of? I guess we're going down this road?
What kind of ass backwards question is that? From a guy like you, Craven? I'm not scared of James Marshall. I'm assuming GP's not scared of Jovi. Hell, I'm not even scared of Nicholas Crenson. I'm certainly not scared of Tyler Ark or Dash Andrews or Prince
I'm
Charles.
scared of that table that Tyler Ark lost to.
I fought the
That's all
table,
they
but
done
the
seen
table won.
Craven, you're not even on my radar. I mean, in a sense, I still want to beat the hell out of you. But what I mean to say is you're not even on my level. Like how you say to me, I'm not on your level. I'm not ducking you. You're ducking me.
So the Backyard Nightmare thing, you're still not feeling this whole Backyard Nightmare, and after what he did to Adonis Felios and Prince Charles, where he basically took that out like garbage, to use Prince Charles' words.
I will say this: when the greater good was still a thing,
I
we had
remember
a
that.
joke. We had a joke about a character. He says, "We'll turn that nightmare into a wet dream."
Okay, fair play, fair play. So I guess we'll obviously move on from Mr. Craven Rage's comments, and I'm sure Mr. Rage in your gentleman's chair next week, I'm sure will certainly address some other things. We'll move on from that. But as
But
we get,
I heard you talk to them about AOPW. Why not?
I was
talk
going to
to
ask you in a second, but I actually wanted to first still ask about your matches. I mean, would you like to talk about anything else IMF related? I mean, I'll ask it to you now. I was actually going to ask you guys a thought or two on some other IMF things. I was actually going to ask if you wanted to go down that road. I'll ask it to you right now, if you'd like.
I have a question for Fonzie in the back. I have a question for you. You sit here and you ride or die with Omen, right? What happened at the end of Springtime Brawl? They left you in the ring.
Smart choice.
They left you in the middle of that ring to take an ass whooping while they walked to the back. What do you think's going to happen this Sunday when we take the tag titles from you?
It's not going to happen.
Mr. Potato Head.
To take your own words, Omen. I wasn't talking to you. We're talking.
They
You're gonna let Omen answer for you?
Why don't you come closer? You can't even hear this guy.
Like I said, they made the smart choice to get out of there. It wasn't leaving me behind or abandoning me. unlike Omen did to you.
Ooh.
Okay. Again, there's my tag partner. Where's yours? Where's your team at, Freddie?
My tag partner, who obviously needs it,
It obviously isn't there, so he doesn't care about being there.
You just do what you're told, Freddie.
You're a yes man, Freddie.
I
You
have
just
a
do what you're
question for
told.
you. Why not? Why do you address Freddie first? Yet Jimmy Payton's right here. Your
Well,
son.
I can barely see Jimmy Payton because your big ass head keeps coming in the way.
Told you.
So like when you move because that belt's too heavy for you and you gotta resituate it, you get in the fucking way. So I can't see Jimmy Payton behind your big ass head.
That's probably because you got no neck.
Well,
Come on, Otis,
I
move out the way.
You had to drop it at Rumble in the Yard.
I didn't drop it at Rumble in the Yard. I got it stolen from me. You used my youngest son
Stolen.
to take it
True.
from me.
I tried to help. Got backstabbed by Remington.
But that's fine because karma's a bitch. And like I said, I do have a surprise for you.
Guess we'll have to see, Soldier.
I
I'll have to see
wanna-
what surprise you have from a simple mind like you.
All right, be that as it may, and we only have so much time. Obviously, you guys are getting ready to prepare for this huge show. And one more time, I want everybody to follow the IMF. If you're out there on YouTube and you're catching this, please go to IMF Wrestling 666 and subscribe to these guys. They do a phenomenal job in putting out different content, whether it's promos, whether it's matches, whether it's great shows coming up like this one here this weekend called Rage in the Cage. Please go out and support them. They are the IMF. And Mr. Black, since you wanted the opportunity to address it, and I'm going to go to it before I get to some closing thoughts, I ask you then, AOPW, what is your thoughts about it, Mr. Champion?
It is on the road to being the greatest E-Federation. It's going to surpass the ones that are...
That other company,
that
right? That other one that some people know about, right? That other one, shall name nameless, correct? It'll certainly
Correct.
surpass that, right? Okay. Want to make
Why
sure.
are we treating like it's
It's going to
Voldemort?
be a true nemesis of that company.
Never heard of that nemesis. I'm going to go plead the fifth on that. So, all right, I see you.
I'll say it again. It's going to be a true nemesis of the other company.
Okay, all right. I can live with that. Okay.
Now, AOPW is full of a roster of hell of a great talent. Just a good locker room. Just guys who want to compete at the best level, at the highest level they could. So why not join AOPW? Stop messing around with playtime feds, like, I'll say nameless ones. Why not join a true company like AOPW, where the competitors mean real business, like Soldier GP, Dirty Donnie, and myself, and Felix Jones, and my brother Jordan Nets. We're all in AOPW.
Good people, good peeps there. Want everybody to follow our friends at AOPW. But, gentlemen, I actually wanted to ask you each this last question before I get to thoughts on your guys' upcoming matches and final words on that. And there's a name that I guess I could name that I was kind of curious on in terms of what's your guys' impressions if he'll do anything, if at all. And that is a guy that always has something to say. You always hear him on Sportswire being mentioned. That is the real deal, Anthony Steele. You guys have any ideas if he'll be there Sunday, or any thoughts from Mr. Steele? Anything?
If you follow our channel, it's already been announced that he is appearing in some type of capacity. So
Some type of capacity. Okay. Any
We'll be there.
But any speculations? Don't know. We don't know yet. What do you think?
he was originally supposed to fight? I guess we'll refer to him as Voldemort because who cannot be named. He was supposed to fight him, and then we were trying to work out something where he was gonna wrestle his brother, and that fell through. But he still wants to make an appearance, so Anthony still will be there.
Do you think maybe he'll do like ring keeping? Maybe he'll help set up the ring, or is he coming there to fight?
He can come carry my bags.
I mean, let's not
Okay.
forget there is an open challenge.
He could come carry
But,
this to the ring when I walk into the ring, and then when I win the
Yeah,
tag belt,
I see Anthony
then
Steele maybe
Fonzie over
coming in
there,
some ceremonial
he
capacity. I
can
mean,
carry the
Omen,
belts
I
to
know
out to
he
the back.
certainly doesn't want any piece of you still. I know Omen, he's certainly not. That's where I don't expect to see him at all. And I mean, you have any ideas? Do you think maybe he's just coming to do some ring bell keeping? Maybe he's coming to be a referee. You know, maybe he's just,
You know,
had it. I don't know.
in the IMF arena, we are short on a janitorial team, so I don't know if he filled the position that we're looking for, but hey, we'll give him a shot.
I think Tyler Ark would qualify, right? You think Tyler Ark would qualify?
He would find a way to mess that up.
There's my response to that.
Well, Prince Charles was talking about garbage the other day. I mean, I think he'd be a good candidate. I mean, hey, listen, let me plead the fifth. That we love those guys. Obviously, want to make sure as a preference we love those guys. And PJ says, "Oh God, not him." Tony Saran wrap. Okay, let's move on because obviously I think we get the picture here. And also, PJ wants to say Omen and Donnie have a match coming up against Andrew Mercer in a handicap match on Saturday. Please go to the AOPW YouTube page for more information. Subscribe, follow, join, watch. Even if you're like me and don't play, go out there and watch because we love everything that everybody does. And like I tell everybody all the time, they ask me, what are you watching these days? And I say, it's wrestling. So all I watch is wrestling. So let's add that. Well, I go to the movies sometimes. I do go to the movies still, but that's a different topic for a different time. I want to both ask you gentlemen, before we get to closing thoughts here, this question each. So I'm going to go first with the Dirty Monsters. And what do you want to say as your final words to your opponent? One of them is there. One of them is training, I guess, with the other one. And that would also be Mr. Remington Stryker. So, fellas, what do you want to say to Mr. Felix Jones, Mr. Jordan, who's out there, and Remington Stryker somewhere in time? So, gentlemen, what do you want to say? Your final words to your opponents.
Well, we're not fighting Felix Jones, Tom.
Okay.
You're starting to be like Jim Ross. That's Freddie Daniels.
Freddie Daniels. I'm sorry. I apologize. I do.
What we want to say. The fact that you guys are going to be a stepping stone for the greatest tag team ever to be a part of the IMF.
The Dirty Monsters are walking in and walking out. The damn champs. Boys, I'll let you know that. Not only that, after we get done handling Remington Life Alert, that's what I'm going to call him.
I'd like to stop right there.
Let's give him the floor. Mr. Daniels, go ahead. Speak up, Mr. Daniels.
First off, like you said, it's Freddie Daniels, not Felix Jones.
I apologize, sir. Go ahead. Floor is yours, my friend.
And Soldier and Dirty, I beat the tag partner that I got these titles with, and I'm just fine with mopping your guys' faces on the mat, just like I mopped the mat with him. I won these titles, and I will win them and defend them all by myself if I have to. And I will come out on top, like I always do when defending my titles.
You see how your voice changed? You don't believe anything you just fucking said, kid. You're stepping in the ring with Mr. Heel Life 24/7 and the Dirty One himself.
You think I care?
You're not stepping in the ring with Cisco Steve that only had 2 matches. You're not stepping in the ring with a jock who goes to become a Combat Joe or a Jester or whatever else you want to call them. You're stepping in the ring with the Dirty Monsters. The real question is, what's the Wolves gonna do for you after you lose the belts, man? That's the real question.
Where's your belt even at?
Don't worry about where my belts are at. Don't worry about what the Wolves are going to do when I win.
But wait, there's more.
Don't worry about whether you're going to be willing or able.
I think this is where it's at.
Well, you look at that.
Ooh, Mr. Daniels. You see that there just now, Mr. Daniels?
It's all right, Freddie. Let them admire the title until Sunday.
Hold down.
Let me just,
I think they're your biggest fans. They got a replica of your title.
Yeah. Y'all got replicas of my stuff. Like, obviously, just watching
what's funny is
trying
Wolf,
to sit there and talk
get used to this
about me.
Get used to this. Because this is what you're going to see after Sunday.
IMF tag champ, And after this Sunday, my reign will continue.
I'm gonna put it on this one.
I think I'm gonna put it on this one right
I'm
here.
gonna go with this one right here.
Oh, see, because Tom, remember you asked about how we were gonna do it? You know,
Yeah, I
It's
did
like
ask
that.
how you were going to be, Soldier
you know.
3 belt.
Show me
possibly.
right there.
Oh,
Look
look,
at that. Look at that. That's nice.
Freddie, that's what you're gonna see.
Well, Freddie,
Where's
you
that
left.
at?
Where did Freddie go? Is Freddie running over to try to knock on your door, almost kind of like that famous Brian Pillman Stone Cold segment on Raw years ago, or the Randy Orton ones?
He'll mind his P's and Q's.
It's funny if that's the case that he came to come look for us. His wolves left him by himself again.
Not
Well,
one of
that's
them.
another reason why you need to go out and follow the IMF on YouTube, and I guess we'll find out. Certainly, the mind games are being played, whether it's Felix Jones or Freddie.
How's that
Daniels
look?
at this point.
How's
It
that
don't
look,
make a
homie?
difference.
You like that, Tom?
I'll tell you
Oh,
what, they look good on you. I will definitely say it.
How you guys think you guys would get under my skin?
So I'm
30
gonna,
people
you know what?
back
I'm gonna, before we get to close, because Mr. Daniels has certainly ran off. Maybe he's gonna knock on the Dirty Monster's door. Mr. Black, I know you have important fish to fry and important names to call out one more time. So, do you have any final words for Mr. Dark Khan and Prince for what's left of them, and anything else you want to address before Sunday's Rage in the Cage?
I think it's just gonna be me and Kron. I don't really see Prince showing up.
So
But
Prince is like that other guy that'll shall name nameless, pretty much. Then, kind of.
no, actually, Prince shows up.
Now we're like, is it Voldemort? Are we talking about Voldemort here? Is that who we're talking about?
We will say,
I believe he was asking me a question.
as of now, though, management, he's coming. He's coming.
Now, if Prince does show up, that would be the biggest mistake he's made twice in 1 year. Now, Dark Kron, I'm not really worried about you.
Hit that
whatsoever.
Oh, hit it up.
Hit that.
When IMF came to DKW, we mopped the floor with you guys. Yeah, you guys got some fluke wins. I'll give you that. But it all shifted towards the middle of that card.
The
Now,
matches that meant the most.
I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win in my match.
Dirty.
I'm world heavyweight champion, and then on the first, going to Ohio, and I hate to say it, but I'll be Omen 2 belts, holding world championships.
He owes me royalties.
Well, you didn't. So you didn't want to call yourself the Backyard Nightmare then? If it's 2 belts,
You want to call yourself the king of the backyard scene too? Mr. Hill, you can have Mr. Hill Life. You want that one too?
Oh, you're the indie. You could have called yourself the Backyard Star instead of the Indie Star, right? You could have said that. I mean, you could have said anything else.
Are you
Well,
playing
maybe-
like a guitar because you want to be Son Jovi so bad?
Oh, I'm just having fun with the tag titles that aren't ours, that are your guys's, that are in our hands.
Look out. Hey, if you didn't know, I was
You know
sleeping
what?
on you.
We'll let fans admire the titles. No big deal.
Well, you know what? Could it be? Listen, could it be an end of days for the House of Wolves' reign as tag team champions?
Oh.
We'll have to find out. But I know one thing: I am more than fired up to watch IMF's latest show, Rage in the Cage, as the war with DKW rages on. And also, we're going to see great matches: the Dirty Monsters versus the House of Wolves and Remington Stryker, and Omen Black. Yes.
I already know this show, this podcast that we got, is already stirring the pot for a bunch of wrestlers. I've actually had 3 messages from 3 different wrestlers.
Oh, really? Now, is that a
Complaining
good
about
thing,
what
or
I
is that a good thing or a bad thing, Mr. Black?
No, but they've been on the show.
Oh, they've been individuals then fill in the
They're
blanks
being
I probably
fed
heard of.
false information, but they want to believe who's ever telling them this. That's fine.
So those individuals, you think that they probably are somebody I speak with then, right? Probably.
For sure, Tom.
Okay. I don't want to speculate because God only knows. I don't want the messenger to be shot. But I know one thing. I am very excited about Rage in the Cage. I am very excited about all the great things the IMF has to offer, including the Dirty Monsters, the House of Wolves, and the champion himself, the ruler of the IMF, Mr. Omen Black himself. And let's go to closing thoughts here, because obviously you guys are getting ready for the big show Sunday. And let's go to the Dirty Monsters first. Guys, I want to give you the opportunity for any closing thoughts. Anything else you want to plug, share, say? You can pick an order. Who wants to go? And be my guest as always. And looking forward to it. And the floor is yours.
Looks like this. House of Pussycats. Your day.
Stealing
Your
material
day
from
number.
Craven Rage. Wow, what a surprise.
Not only that, and this is especially to Remington Striker himself, but you're done. When Dirty gets you in that cage, and my man Soldier here handles the tag champ right now, Dirty has some rage that he's definitely gonna fucking take out in that cage on Remington Striker. All them back shots he was doing with kendo sticks. Ooh, don't even, yeah. You know, I could care less about these tag shots.
I'm watch your mouth. You're on Sportzwire Radio.
Yeah, and this is how heated up I
I'm
get.
not on Facebook anymore at this point, so I mean, I guess at this point,
I've been being moderate.
you have been being moderate. I have to say, I will certainly say you have been a more toned down version of Dirty Monster. Almost like
I did that.
Almost like when we were kids, we would buy like CDs and you'd have the parental advisory version. Like
It's the dirty version,
like, you've been the clean version, not the dirty version of the Dirty Monster. We'll see here if it's almost like killing in the name of that Rage Against the Machine used to famously talk about, especially Zach De La Rocha and Tom Morello. But that's here and there.
I don't know much about Rock, but I know in 2 days I Rage in a cage for the damn tag team championships. Bodies will hit the floor.
Well, that certainly was a Drowning Pool song, and certainly we'll see if it's going to be Lights Out Guerrilla Radio from Rage Against the Machine. Great stuff there, Dirty. Looking forward to having you on here more. Good luck out there in the ring. And Soldier, you know the drill at this point. I'm going to give you the floor, the opportunity to say anything else you want to plug, share, say, and the floor is yours, and fire away out there, champ.
I just hope Remington, all jokes aside, I hope Remington, Freddie, and Jordan know what they're getting into. Because you can't escape the cage with us. You have to pin us. And I don't see any of your guys, any of your wolves, pinning us. So I feel 100% that me and Dirty are going to walk away with the tag belts. And our first interview, Tom, you can interview us for the first interview with the new tag champs after Sunday.
I think we just never give them back. We already got them.
Yeah, we do already have them. I mean,
don't you technically have to give them to the referee when you guys go into the ring to kind of
smoking a cough? We'll have to give them smoking a cough.
You have to give it to the referee. I mean, the referee just have to.
Fair enough, Tom.
But I keep trying to let your House of Wolf member Freddie
Reynolds.
It's not what happens in the match to him that he has to worry about. It's what happens after the match when we take his gold. Because Omen, are you really going to be out there to comfort your team? Are you going to leave him hanging like you did at Summertime Brawl?
You're not going to get in my head, Soldier.
I'm not trying to get in your head.
When Freddie finds out he has nothing, no more.
Because this Sunday starts the crumble of the House of Wolves.
I've been there for Freddie before he was even champion. Let the record show that. Because
have you though? Because you can also let the record show that you beat him up quite a bit throughout the whole time that he's been in the House of Wolves.
You want to talk about the game?
Brotherly love.
You put him through a table.
One brother has to show the little brother how things are at, the pecking order.
So, you know I bet on him.
I like how you said that. One brother has to show the little brother tough love. Because I remember a while ago, we were brothers. So this brother right here is going to show you some tough love.
If you're saying you're the bigger brother, then it must be embarrassing for you to get your ass whooped by your little brother.
You keep bringing up that loss, but you didn't do it all by yourself, did you?
You didn't
Here
lose
comes
by
that
yourself
security
either.
again.
You can't beat me one-on-one in a fair match. You have to have help.
You can't
couldn't
determine
lose to me
the outcome of this
fairly.
match.
You had Matt Forsaken out there doing God knows what.
You didn't have Kron?
You had Dark Tron. You had
I
the
even
House
asked
of Wolves
him,
themselves. You had,
When it came down to it, it was about 5-on-2.
when it came down to it, it took a kick.
Well, let's move on to Chloe, though, because there's an individual that I'm gonna leave aside to name nameless that he is tuned in here, and I want to end this sort of on a positive note here. So that individual, I'm just gonna say hello to that individual. His initials are TT. So his YouTube initials are TT. He recently appeared on Sportswire Radio. Let's leave it at that. And he says he stacks the dimes. Well, he says I suck, but whatever it might be, I'll say hello to that individual, I'm sure. But Mr. Black, let me not steal your thunder. Let me give you your closing thoughts. Let me give you anything else that you want to say when it comes to anything on your mind, your opponent, whatever else is out there, anything else you want to plug, share, say, and the floor is yours, champ.
All I gotta say is Ron and Prince know who's gonna win that match. And it's yours truly, Omen Black. And for these two jackasses, I'm pretty sure Jordan Nets has a win over both of you. I'll just leave it as that. But I also want to break kayfabe real quick. I want to just ask the fans from IMF and Sportswire, wherever else, go follow and subscribe to AOPW.
Okay. That's I'm gonna do that right after we get off the air if I haven't already. So yes,
Tomorrow night, Summer Heat, pay-per-view.
We have a busy weekend. We have AOPW's first pay-per-view, then we have Rage in the Cage.
We're taking W's all weekend.
I have no doubt about that. There is certainly no reasons why anybody shouldn't follow our friends at AOPW. Also, please follow our friends at the IMF on YouTube at IMF Wrestling 666, and also IMF_wrestling. And also want to make sure everybody please go to their page Sunday because it's Rage in the Cage. We are going to see a whole slew of stars from the IMF, DKW, who knows what else. And want to give a shout out here to _RAF_Lone Wolf -only one # IMF #AOPW. PJ says hello here. Final words. Also, we have different things. I want to say hello to the individual TTT. That's all. I want to end it on a kind note. Also, Rage in the Cage. Let's go. Big shout out to Joe. Yep, absolutely. Rage in the Cage. This I'm excited for. If you've seen previous IMF shows, wait until you see what they've got in store. You got, again, Dirty Monsters, House of Wolves, Remington Striker, Omen Black versus Dark Crown, Prince. Maybe he won't show up. Who knows what else? But it's a whole slew of stars. Go out there and support them. Gentlemen, looking forward to the show. Also, very excited for the future of what you guys will have to offer. I am sure we'll be tuned in to see it, and I'm sure we'll see you guys real soon on Sportswire Radio. And good luck out there, and happy Father's Day, I guess, technically, to both you guys on that
Thanks,
note.
Tom.
Happy Father's Day to you, too, as well, Tom.
Well, I'm not a father. I'm just somebody that's just yeah, I'm not a father. So, but you can say it to me. I don't mind. You can say. And also, Skulls wants to say,
shout out to Brute Force.
Brute Force actually was excited that you were on. We were actually supposed to do a recorded podcast, but it was too late for him. So maybe we'll do something next week. But we have a lot of wrestling coverage, and Craven Rage is in your spot next week, next Friday, and Mr. Rage, the backyard nightmare, the ruler of the yard, I am sure is going to want to respond. And Skulls wants to say he'll be at the West Coast Wrestling Company tomorrow. I actually want to plug that because our friend Darrow Johnson, the promoter of the company, has been a very good friend to Sportswire, and they have Vito Fratelli there, who's wrestled Alexander Hammerstone, the MLW World Champion. TJ Perkins beat him, NXT WWE guy, and I will say, I think Taft Taylor is saying a few things that I think he's just we're gonna leave it at that. So thank you. We're gonna leave it at that. We're gonna say thank you everybody for tuning in on Sportswire Radio. If you're on Facebook, if you're on Twitter, YouTube, wherever you might be, sportnarium.com/player. You're going back to your regularly scheduled programming. Tune into YouTube tomorrow. Sean Jovi, Mr. Jovi's going to have a lot to say. And then we'll also be back Monday with more coverage. Stay tuned for an announcement here on the number one global radio station. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. Thank you to the Dirty Monsters and Mr. Omen Black himself, the IMF champion of the world. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are on the number one